This is part 3, ongoing 3 or 4. Now, if you look on top, that is my mother's living room. Right overhead, that bright orange light, red light, is infrared being used on us. If you look right above it, you can actually see an individual right here on top of the roof using this weapon. There's actually more than one. There's like several of them up there all around the satellite dish, assaulting us inside the building. You can come out here, anybody can come out here, and you will not see these things. Now that is the inside of my mother's living room wall, next to the room that we were staying in to care for her after her stroke. They had actually cut a hole through that wall. I filled it in. That's caulking I put in there because they cut a hole into the wall to spy on as well as torture my mother. That is the hole cut into the house from the outside. They actually pried that board down below it so they could carve the hole into her living room wall. That yellow spot just above the board next to the hole is the glue that held this board up here. So this was glued here. They pried it down. They cut a hole into the house. They were spraying chemicals on us to the point where it was burning your mouth, your throats, and your eyes for a good 30 minutes. They were feeding it in through our air vents, the furnace system from the basement up. That there, the white spot, is actually the hole that's cut into my living room, my mother's living room, room where they would also assault her. These are holes that they've cut into the outside exterior house. Now if you look close on this one, this is the L-shaped motel right in front of my mother's living room, or in front of my mother's bedroom. Right here you can see a man walking on the rooftop. People in these rooms that still live here in this town have complained about people running on the roof, hearing voices, having lasers come into their rooms, burning their eyes. Matter of fact, they just stopped by today to see how we were doing. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see that individual on the rooftop. Perfect legs, perfect everything on top of the rooftop. Up further, that's actually an air drone assault is what's taking place there. The guy is perping us, he is assaulting us, he is torturing us. But over here there's an air drone that's shooting this electrical magnetic orb. It's not on him, it's actually shooting it through the bedroom at my mother's bedroom. Let me go down on that. So on the very top over here there's an air drone up over here shooting it directly into my mother's bedroom. When I found my mother, her induced stroke was happened to be in the same place where my father died, to the T. On the ground in front of the truck you have a perp using a weapon aimed in. You have air drones in 3 different places. Weapons. That's another man on top of the roof next to that air duct. That's an air drone assault coming down from the neighbor's house, or actually above my neighbor's house. Well, not my neighbor's, one of our neighbors. It's actually behind my mother's living room. That place belongs to Sally. Their family too have been assaulted, even if they're not aware of it. In the distance, when they're using this technology, a lot of times you can hear generators running. Generators are running to help energize these weapons on long-term standards. Otherwise, they do have strong battery packs, and they can plug into electrical walls, outlets, etc. As they surround you, torture you, use hypnosis on you, induce rapes that last up to 6 hours. I'd also like to point out, as I'm just strumming through some of these pictures, if I see something important, I'll point it out. Right there you see 3 cloaked individuals. While I was away, they broken into this place, my mother's vault, our computers. They've tried ridding all of our evidence, or most of our evidence. A lot of it that pertains to them. Problem is, I've got it in probably about 8 to 12 different places. That there's actually a cloaked individual in front of my mother's living room door, catching the reflection. Now here, from the basement up, you have orbs coming up out of the basement, electromagnetical orbs, coming up through the floors. So they were also getting into the basements as they were assaulting us. They're pulsating through the house, most likely through my mother's spare bedroom. That dark spot's right above my mother's rocking chair in her living room where she would sit. That there is a perp on top of my mother's roof with goggles, most likely night vision, assaulting us. These are 3rd-degree burns on our 17-year-old miner's Ben Badger's chest from microwave weapons. 3 different sections across his chest. They burn deep. Microwave weapons burn you from the inside out. Now, as he's healed, even though they began out as millions of little dots on top of his flesh boiling outwards, as they healed, they began connecting together. This is done by a microwave laser. There's a place in Arizona that actually develops these lasers, and ultrasonic lasers, or ultrasonic cutters, I should say. This is the way the burns begin, boiling outwards. All this took place overnight while he was sleeping in his bed. Asleep. He did not wake up. They had him knocked out, drugged out, whatever. If you research this technology and what they do with it, I mean, it's widespread everywhere. These are on our heads and behind our ears. Burn holes going deep into our ears and our brain, our heads. Horrific. These are 2 weapons next to the Pepsi machine. A cloaked man standing next to the Pepsi machine catching the rays. I'd also like to point out, when I was in the process of exposing these cloaking devices in Kevlar, they came out with a drunk driver commercial. On that drunk driver commercial, they were going through, this is a perp that was assaulting us, a state vehicle. State, DOD, CIA, and or mostly, I believe that one was out of Casper. Where was I? Anyway, more cloaked individuals, more burns. Those are burns on top of my head from being assaulted through the night when they kept us knocked out, rendered unconscious. Sometimes they would keep us knocked out for over 16 hours a day, and me personally up to 3 months consistently, daily, for 16 hours a day, where not even my mother or friends calling or my dogs inside the house or people banging on my door could wake me up. This is acoustic weapon. This was my mother approximately 1 week prior to her induced stroke. Young, healthy, strong, solid. She drinks beer. She did drink. 6-pack or better a day. Perfectly healthy, perfectly strong. There's no reason for her to have an induced stroke or a stroke at all. The only reason you can't see the license plate of this vehicle is due to the electrical magnetical extortion field shot in front of it. If I walked out 20 feet from where I was standing, then I would be able to get the photos. And I do have their license plate numbers and their photos of each and every one of these vehicles and perps that were assaulting us. More burns behind the ears. My mother immediately after her stroke, behind her ear. Another one of the vehicles that they assaulted us from, they actually came, stayed in the motel. This particular day they were on top of our roof, torturing me about 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up in so much pain I asked my wife to rub me. I slammed my arm against the roof, yelled, "Get off." They immediately ran down the edge of the roof, jumping down, running over to the motel room, trying to hide. I came out, took many pictures. I even followed them to where they were. I got all their info. This is actually one of the perps that came into the house that arrested me wearing an FBI badge. Looked like a child. Black curly hair, skinny, 3 to 4 inch wrists, 3 to 4 inch ankles, approximately about 5 foot, 5.5 foot tall. He is cloaked in this picture. You can see right through him. These assaults have been going on for years, decades. My mother's porch, on top of her roof. Now this picture is right outside my mother's window on her living room. This is where they would lay down or sit throughout the night while she'd be drinking, crocheting, watching TV, assaulting her. Many times I came by my mother's place. These are pulsating through the walls of my house. My mother's window, another one coming down. Notice that individual to the left of that transformer. Individual above the camper in my father's fifth wheel. Air drone and ground assaults. Over here in the top corner, infrared microwave weapons. Lasers on my wife's head to the right. Green. Mood and mind altering. Now this gentleman here, I want you to pay attention to his glasses. He also looks a lot like Mr. Kumo, the first lawyer that I hired. His glasses are actually cameras. Them are cameras. You can find them on the internet. Also in his eyes he has, I don't know what you would call it. Definitely not contact lenses. Right here, perfect picture. That's my father's Sheriff Tahoe. This is back in 1990, the early 1990s, 1990, 1993, 1994. If you look close, right here, there's a cloaked individual standing out. These are his hands coming towards a window at me. I'll zoom in if I can. I hope you can see them. I do got the original photos, etc. to show anybody in all this. The courts will not allow any of this evidence into the courts. There's a better picture of the hands. You can see the hands coming down. That is a cloaked individual. So again, these assaults aren't just recent, they're ongoing. This is a lifelong scenario. This is actually my urine from microwave torture, radio frequency, and nanotech. They kept me bleeding for over 8 months out of my penis and out of my rectum, to the point where I couldn't even digest food because they shrank my colon down so small it hurt like crazy to pass. The dark spotches are deep, they're just solid blood. Lasers into my home prior to my mother's stroke when we were living there. Again, electromagnetic orbs in the window coming through, lasers on top of my wife's head. That's an assault from directly on top of my roof. That is not from an air drone. If I can get this good enough. Right here is a man. This is an extortion field, electromagnetic extortion field. Here is his head. This is a weapon that's based on the roof. They use a school next to us to also assault us and torture us. All this is above my house. This is towards a school where they were assaulting us from. On my mother's roof. These here, this is a very important picture. I heard a noise outside my mother's bedroom. This is after her stroke. I come out, I could not see anything. I took a picture. The flash from the cameras will illuminate that of the cloaking device, the cloaking material. It has electronics running through it. They actually have attachments attached to my mother's window while she is sleeping, while they are assaulting us. And this here is probably 7 months prior to them coming to detain me. There's also a man standing on the ground out here where the wires come down, another individual up over here. All this evidence I showed to those who are giving me evaluations. This is a cloaked individual. We're being assaulted over from the CIG trailer court. Well, actually it's just a CIG trailer next to Sally's, a block away. This is a perp. This is a cloaked man, two cloaked individuals next to a fence in broad daylight. These pictures, now in the mirrors, these are electromagnetic radio frequency transmitter weapons. They use these to knock us out as we were driving. They'd get in line with us, use them on us, and within seconds I'd be totally knocked out with my entire family in the car. Whoever was sitting behind me in my mother's van would also be immediately knocked out. My wife would then help me regain conscience. Notice it's in both his mirrors and his back window. Now then, if you pay attention as this vehicle passes, if you look at the shadows on the ground, the sun is up over this way. There's no way for it to be in both mirrors, let alone the back window. And as he passes and goes around me, see, 3 spots, boom. I'll have to show you some others. As he passes and goes around me, another vehicle gets behind him. Mirrors are in the same position. He did not have anything aimed at us. The first one did. They were identical vehicles. This is the PD where they were also assaulting us from. That is the back porch to what was the PD office. Right there, you can see the beams coming down in the back. This whole section is cloaked. You have individuals there assaulting us from a cloak shielding. You can barely see the struts behind it coming down. If you go look at the porch, all the boards are there. It is solid. I reported this to the deputies in 3 different counties, or 2 different counties, 3 different states, federal, you name it. I called them all. I asked them many times to stop these lethal and deadly assaults on my family. They refused. They would not even allow me to file orders against them. This here is their technology. Some of their technology. This is a microwave weapon being shot through the buildings, assaulting people. This is a microwave weapon. The same that they've been using from the school over here. This is a satellite technology. One of these can perp over 40,000 people. I believe possibly up to 80,000, even though their records state only 20,000. These are RFID implants and how they get them inside your body. That's a RFID. These are capacitor built. These are actually antenna arrays. RFID trackers versus antenna arrays. For the radio frequencies that they're sending to you. Built-in capacitors. They can actually live off your own body's frequency. Heat signature. They can recharge by themselves. At the same time, they work as an antenna array once they're placed in your body, especially along your spinal column. They'll place them in 2 to 3 different places over your body. This way, from further distance around on ground assaults, air drones, and or by satellite by radio frequency electromagnetical free phase array transmissions, ELF, EHF, most commonly used EHF, extremely high radio frequencies. This will allow them to use extremely low radio frequencies. Computer interfaced, meaning that they use computers to also target you with from long distance away. These actually help strengthen the signal so they can remotely move the nanotechnology around inside your bodies to torture you with, to assault your organs. Many people are losing their organs due to this technology. It helps shorten the lifespan, raises a lot of money for their ongoing issues, and at the same time they can remotely use it to move the nanotechnology anywhere inside your body. This here is where I was assaulted. They came in. This is after my mother's stroke. I was sleeping. They stuck a needle inside my neck, into my spinal column. This heel, if you looked at it, it looks cauterized, burnt. This is from actually the technology penetrating inside me, and or possibly too, microwave laser penetrating into my spinal column, into my nervous system, which actually left me paralyzed on the left hand side for over 20 minutes long. I couldn't walk, I couldn't do nothing. More perps, etc. When I put a radio frequency transmitter up next to me, it totally would go off everywhere. Not so much now. The assaults have been down since I've been back. I'm going to end this and I'm going to go into part 4